Loss of a loved one, natural disasters, life-threatening illnesses. These are some examples of traumatic events that we're all going to go through one time in our life. But what gives us the mental strength to cope and overcome these traumatic events? The answer, resilience. In 2018, I put my resilience to the test. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Prior to 2019, everything was going great for me. I had a great job, I had a great relationship, and I was in the best physical shape in my life. Couldn't complain. But winter 2018, I started to feel strange. It started with tingling going through my arms and legs. That was accompanied by weakness in my muscles. But at that time, I attributed to overworking. I was working a lot during the winter, and I was also working out at the gym. So I decided to bring it down a couple of notches and just focus on my main job, put everything aside. Unfortunately, that didn't change nothing for me. I was progressively getting worse. Just to paint the picture of how bad I was about to become, I got a small little pug at home. It took all my strength just to lift up my pug and put him on my bed. Furthermore, I was driving a manual Mazda 3 at the time. The real manual, the stick shift, not the Tiptronic thing there. I had to muster all the strength in my leg and my arm just to shift from second to third to fourth speed. Guys, that's very dangerous driving, especially during the winter on the highway, no less. I knew something was up, so I went to go see my family doctor. In fact, I saw her several times. Every time she did several tests on me, but the results always came back negative. Everything seemed fine on paper, but I know deep down I wasn't feeling well. At that time, my nerves were acting out and my joints were also hurting too. Eventually, my doctor decided to send me to see a specialist at Cité de la Santé Hospital in Laval. That infamous day. I remember it like if it was yesterday. Friday, March 29th, 2019. The neurologist took his hammer, struck my knees, no reflexes whatsoever. He looked in my eyes and told me in French, Monsieur Pierre-Charles, ça va pas bien en ce moment. Faut qu'on vous garde une semaine ou deux pour faire d'autres examens. I heard what he was saying, but I couldn't register what was going on in the moment. I felt very nervous, very, very stressed. Finally, that 2 weeks that he mentioned earlier, it ended out that I stayed at the hospital for a total of 9 long months, going from hospital to rehab to a neurology center. I was at that time a strong 170-pound male, but I completely atrophied. I couldn't do much. I went all the way down to 120 pounds soaking wet. At that time, I was also paralyzed. That was by far the worst moment in my life, bar none. My outcome was very grim. I thought it was going to be wheelchair bound, or even worse. Several weeks later, the doctors were able to find out what my diagnosis was. I'm standing in front of you as someone who has a rare neurological condition called chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, or CIDP for short. Now that I know what I have, they were able to proceed and try to find a solution to stop the degeneration of my body. They were able to find some injections for me to use that was working, though it took a while and it was very slow, but it was still working. That was my window of opportunity right there. Because I couldn't really do much. I wasn't moving a lot, but I know that they did their part. Now I have to do my part, which is rehabilitation. At that time, I was at the rehabilitation center in Laval, so I knew I had a small window of opportunity and I have to use it right away. I have to be resilient. I used everything that was available to me in my surrounding, all the specialists. We're talking about physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists because I couldn't talk, kinesiologists, and the most important one of them all, guys, the MVP, the therapist. Because remember, I was going through it. I was depressed as hell. I couldn't move my body. I couldn't do nothing. So I had to use the only muscle that was available to me, which is my brain. Mind over matter. I needed my brain to go through this ordeal and go through this rigorous rehabilitation that was awaiting for me. Resilience. Slowly but surely, it worked out. I started to get some strength and do some of the most mundane tasks you think of. We all take for granted. Things like lifting a pen up in the air, or even standing in position without wobbling left and right. It wasn't easy, but I was able to do it. And slowly but surely, I was getting stronger and stronger. Till eventually, 9 long months after being hospitalized, the neurologist finally discharged me from the hospital. That was a glorious day. I was so gleeful. Finally, it paid off. I got so much I can tell you about my condition, but what I can leave you guys with is you never know how strong you are until being strong is your only option. What I can leave you with, you guys, is be resilient when you go through adversity, because it's going to pay off later down the line. Thank you very much.